Hey guys, I'm Chris,
And I'm Mike.
and welcome back to this week's No Limits, the Thriller Podcast. What's up today, Mike?
Not much. Just want to let you know this podcast and all our podcasts are brought to you by the Patron Book Club. For less than the price of a novel a month, you can support the podcast, be the reason we can make more podcasts. So head on over to thrillerpod.com, click the book club tab to learn more. And Chris, we had a great conversation with our patrons this past weekend. More than an hour chatting all about thrillers. We covered Mitch Rapp, and we talked a little bit about, David McCloskey we covered. We were supposed to talk about the book of the month, but we always branch off into all things thrillers in those conversations.
We talked a little bit about Project Hail Mary.
Yeah.
But it mainly devolved into like other things. So, we always have fun. I was on there for an hour and 45. I would have kept going, but I had to take Bo, my dog, to the vet because I thought he broke something. But
Jeez.
great time.
Well, one other way to pitch in besides the Patron Book Club is simply by following us on YouTube. For those original followers who always listen to us by audio on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, we are also now a video podcast on YouTube. So please head over there, like, comment, and subscribe. We'd love to have you watching these two beautiful gents over here talk about books. And speaking of beautiful gents, we've got a Chris Hauty book. And whenever we have a Chris Hauty book, we're going to have a good time. And this one is a thrill ride right to the very finish.
Yeah. We've covered all of his books so far, including his novella. Yeah.
What is it? 4 Haley Chills? 4.5
Haley Chills. Plus the novella.
Yep.
This one, we're eagerly waiting the next Haley Chill book. When I found out that, he was having a new book come out and it was not going to be in the Haley Chill universe, little disappointed, super intrigued by this, JFK assassination setting. And so, just to give a little bit of a spoiler-free, exposition, let's dive in. Let's see what the people are saying. So Amazon, it's got a 4.0 rating. Goodreads, 3.8. Interesting. Both of them are low numbers of ratings. So
it's surprising.
It is surprising considering that most of the authors, like, Brad, Mitch, Don, generally those books, unless they're like tankers, are above 4s.
Yeah.
But there's some times where we see a score on Goodreads and it's like, really? You think it's that? Goodreads is where the super nerds go,
Yeah.
So and if you
people,
and if you love like an author, you're gonna go on and just give them a 5 out of 5,
Right.
So,
or if you got a free advanced copy of the book.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's part of the shtick. But so, anyways, the little blurb on this is set in present day. A disgraced former Secret Service officer and a Jesuit professor join forces to delve into the mysteries surrounding the events of November 22nd, 1963. Fixated on deciphering the conspiracies behind the history-changing assassination, they are oblivious to the fact that the cabal is still active and may face an end as bloody as the carnage in Dealey Plaza. Will they be able to uncover the truth in time, or will it become 2 more footnotes in history? I mean, just the tagline of disgraced Secret Service officer with a Jesuit priest. Boom, sign me up.
You got me. As I was reading this book, I took down these notes. I was like, this is Boondock Saints meets No Country for Old Men.
Oh, very much so.
Meets National Treasure.
Meets National Treasure, meets Da Vinci Code.
Completely. At times, I thought we were reading Dan Brown.
Hunting. Yeah.
I thought I was reading Dan Brown or Steve Berry or even Brad Thor. It kind of had the pacing and the plotting of these 2 protagonist main characters, each with their own quirks and a plenty amount of humor and witty dialogue along the way. And it's all about tracing down clues, historical events that give them these clues, little cryptography they have to decode. And I think there's action throughout this book that's nonstop. And it's also a chase story because the villain is right on their heels every time, leaving a path of destruction. And so I don't think it deserves those low ratings on Amazon and Goodreads. It's a thrill ride through and through. It's very much in the same genre of the pop thrillers that we love, especially those ones tinged with a little bit of faction, that where history and fiction meet.
Yeah, so I'm going to push back on that a little bit.
Okay.
we're not getting into the nitty gritty yet, but I liked it. I didn't love it, and I guess I'm having some reservations about it, mainly because of a lot of it felt like National Treasure light or Steve Barry light, but at the same time, I appreciated like Chris. You could definitely tell like Chris Hauty was putting himself and his spin on like him wanting to do this kind of stuff. Obviously bringing in the bad guy from No Country for Old Men, or that kind of things. But there was just some stupid stuff, and we'll discuss it like once we go spoilers. But there was just some stuff that I'm like, this doesn't make any sense at all. Like these guys this wouldn't happen, Whereas I don't know, maybe I'm just not suspending my disbelief enough. But I don't know. Did you never come across something like that?
No, I'm going to 100% agree with you, because I will absolutely praise this book for the action, the plotting, the pacing, and I will even say the character development. I think all of that was done very well for this pop fiction thriller genre. It almost is very much like a summer beach read kind of style. So I think that's all done really well and in the vein of the what the audience expects in a thriller. I'm 100% going to agree with you. The buy-in and the believability of some of it, it's just utterly ridiculous. So while it's the best of a Brad Thor, Steve Barry, Dan Brown on, I feel, the action and the plotting and the sequencing, I will say it's the worst of each of those authors in terms of the believability. The codes are just wild. The, kind of how they get themselves out of situations are utterly ridiculous and wild and unbelievable.
Wild.
So I'm going to agree with you. I have a lot of gripes about this book, but I'm also going to find the positives, because it is a joyride reading it if you're willing to, like you said, suspend the disbelief and go along for the ride.
I definitely enjoy, I mean, if you guys are listening to us, you know that we're but two conspiracy nuts. So, excuse me, this is right up our alley.
Exactly.
I think that's what, like, if this was just something else, like wasn't like JFK, I don't know how much I would have enjoyed it. But I loved like this take on the assassination in modern day. I love the Houtyisms. We didn't get many until the very end. Spoiler alert, but not that we're saying what they are, but I did miss that. Find myself missing that. If you guys aren't familiar, a lot of times Chris Hauty will do. Because he's a screenwriter, right?
Yep.
And so typically when you're screenwriting, you write a lot of stuff that doesn't actually get said on screen. It's meant to give like an actor like direction stuff. So a lot of times when the last time you see a character, he'll give you his entire backstory, like in one like foul swoop,
Backstory and future story, though.
And future story. No, that's what I meant.
Foreshadowing.
Future story. Like you find out like what goes on.
I do love the extemporaneous details, though, about someone's background. Like even just that woman at the motel, a few of the cops along the way. And there's a payoff at the end. And there's a big scene where you see a lot of those individuals and get to see what became of their story. So I love this kind of future forward that Chris Hauty does. And the last thing we'll leave you with before we get into the big spoilers, the number one Houtyism, the twist. Guys, a shocking ending to this one. A twist nobody saw coming.
Yeah.
A double Houty twist. He's the master of it. I'm going to guarantee some of those comments that went lower than 4 out of 5, guarantee you they didn't finish the book.
Didn't get to the twist.
They did not get to the twist and the payoff. And that's
it's a Houtyism, right?
It is.
I mean, and I don't know if like, do all of our books have like all of our books don't have a twist. They have like maybe like a subtle like change, like where you the protagonist like figures something out.
Sure.
But Houty always has like some like 180, like just gonna mind blow you at the end. And as soon as we got there, I was like, oh yep, that's it. And you texted me immediately.
I think the difference with him too is he does it in a way that's so subtle, like you said, but when you go and reread it, I bet it's just an absolute pleasure to be like, how did I miss that? How did I miss that? There was a little clue here, a little clue there. I think he also plants seeds along the way that you never see coming. So it is a major twist. It's a huge turnaround. But at the same time, you're almost in a position to buy it, to believe it. Like he sold it to you along the way. He's a great salesman.
and we've only talked to him once. I would love to ask him if, like, when he's writing, does he know the twist in the beginning?
Yeah.
You know, like, is it, and then he writes around it, or as he's writing, he's figuring out what the twist will be, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like that would be harder, but, you know, than knowing what you wanted. Like, you know, you start with a twist and then you like sort of build the story around that. But
and then what does your editing process look like?
If exactly. Because then you can go back once you have that, then you can go back and start, you know, sort of filtering it in, right?
Prepping it, yeah. But you have to do that in a way that's natural.
Doesn't give it away.
It's not jarring. It's not too much. It's not too little where you don't see it. Yeah. Sometimes you're blindsided by it, but it's always done very tastefully. I feel like his twist usually.
Deep State,
that's the big one.
I was absolutely blindsided by that.
The second one too, though, with Haley Chill's friend. So we'll leave it at that. Love the Haley Chill universe. Absolutely.
We're delving into spoiler territory. So
let's do it. Give them a spoiler warning. Yeah.
We are going to talk. We may delve into some of the other Chris Hauty books. So if you don't want any spoilers, especially on this book, stop this, go read it, come back, listen to us again. But no, we got to get into it.
The big one. Here it comes. Pause the podcast if you did not read Dead Ringer. JFK is alive. That is wild. That's absolutely
When he's 108 years old?
Who writes that shit? Like, come on. Who does that?
That's crazy.
That's such a risk. You are risking and staking so much about your, reputation, your credibility to do that and to pull it off. I think it made sense. I think it completely made sense. For all the other things I don't buy into, how they get out of some drama-filled scene, that part I actually bought into.
Wow. I didn't have, mainly because I didn't realize until they said he was 108. Like because you could easily set this story like, I don't know, 10 years ago. And he could have been 98, like
exactly.
Or 20 years ago. But yeah, that to me like was just like, wow. All right, that's bold. That's like just the choice of setting that, and the fact that he then goes on to have a second family, and to have more grandkids, and
in his nature, I might say,
yeah,
from what I've heard.
But it wasn't only like, I was wondering if you were texting me when we found out that Cristanti was his uncle, because that was like not as big as obviously the JFK reveal, but that was still like a big revelation. And I didn't quite see that coming in one either. Did you?
No, I'm also curious. Am I wrong in reading into it that Cristanti, there was also a body double for Lee Harvey Oswald, that was a thing? Or was that kind of one of those rabbit hole conspiracies that actually just muddied the waters? Because part of me thought that could have been Cristanti too.
No, I think that was his dad.
Oh, yes. That's right. Yes, that was Uncle Philip.
Uncle Phil,
yeah,
was in the CIA, right, and was essentially the body double, like the guy who went.
That's what it was.
Posed as, coming to the Soviet Union to sort of build this whole backstory, right?
Yeah, that was where it was getting a little weird as I was trying to see how this fit together. But you knew something was up once we found out about Tio Philip, and it was like he was there in Juan Verdugo's childhood. I was like, okay, hold on. This guy Verdugo is much more intimately involved in this than I would have ever thought. And so that was one of those things that I think prepped us when we heard that his grandfather is actually JFK. We already were connecting Verdugo's backstory, and we were already clued into the fact that Olivia, who left this whole treasure hunt in his hands, and Tarasenko, the guy who actually planted all the clues, they knew Verdugo had a role to play. It was just we as the reader were strung along of like, why is this Jesuit priest so into this? Why is he the one who has to follow these clues? And it slowly fell, okay, his family connection, something in his history, in his childhood. And so, yeah, that could have been the big reveal. And then, boom, Chris just pulls the rug out from under us again, and there's a bigger reveal.
Yeah, because in the beginning, I'm like, all right, so this random Jesuit priest, happened to be friends with, this archivist, and he's just like one of the world's foremost historians on JFK. and like
Strange.
that's what we're going with. But once you get to the end and you look back on all of it, sure, it makes complete sense. Like obviously, his parents probably were talking a lot about the situation, and it stirred up fervor in him. And so he grew up in like this world of wanting to know more. Maybe that there have been subliminal like things that his mom and dad had like done at an early age that planted these seeds that made him want to like study this even more. And then obviously the reason he would be involved is because Tarasenko figured out who he was, and so
yep. And made sure Olivia befriended him.
Because he kept trying to reach out. And this guy's like, I don't want to talk to this crazy ass man. And then finally, like on his deathbed, he's like, all right, I will make sure that he will, I'll at least lay these seeds by letting Olivia know, and then obviously putting Olivia in danger. But yeah, it makes, when you're going through it, it's like, all right, like who the hell really is this priest? Why is he involved? Yeah. But when you get to the end of it, makes complete sense. So
it was one of probably the original gripe that I had of why I wasn't bought in was this Jesuit brother who does the JFK stuff. I was like, okay, that's weird. Then on top of that, the disgraced Secret Service agent Mingus just happened to be dating her, who also happened to at one point date Tarasenko. They all had this like love triangle relationship. It was like, it's just a little too handy that all these people are connected to this Olivia woman in such a convenient way, and their skill set is exactly what's needed. The academic with a religious background who can kind of take down the Cristanti network and all that and understand their radical extremist faith. But you also partner him with a Secret Service agent who knows about protection and would give his life for a president. And a little bit of that poetic justice is
he does.
He risks his life. He takes the bullet
for the president.
He saves the president. And I do in the end like that arc that this disgraced Secret Service agent who was always told by his father, you're just a Mingus, you amount to nothing. Our family's dirt, will always be that way. And he wanted to prove him wrong by getting the job, but then scandal hit. So it's like down on his luck. And finally he gets to come full circle and one, save the president, but then also two, honor those who died in the wake with that really moving tribute. Yeah. That he and the security guard bury the names of the bus people. So it's all like poetic and it's all really nice. But if you stop and think about it, it's rather absurd. And even just that security guard that I guess that's a cop. I was checked out. I was like, why is this dude even entertaining the fact that he's going to let them go and dig up a gravesite in Arlington? No way in hell.
That is where I started like to get annoyed.
I rolled my eyes.
Yeah. Where I was like, oh my God, like
too much.
Wait, he's just going to let you go?
Bizarre.
But the problem is that it was like half that, but at the same time, like some of the shit was intriguing. Like when they go and like when they actually open up the box and like what they find in it, like, that was cool. Like all the deciphering, like that kind of stuff. First of all, wouldn't the all right, it's pretty much every single time they go to get a cache, like there's some ridiculous ass shit. Okay, the first one is the security guard
museum. No, before that's the museum, the cryptologic museum at Fort Meade.
I thought the security guard was the first one. No. Yeah, you're right.
I was talking Arlington. The security guard at Arlington was the one that really pissed me off.
Yeah, no, but the first one is at the museum. We're like, okay, once they realize that's gone, they're going to go back and look at the footage and see the hell like shoved it down this random.
Well, the wheelchair. What bothered me about that one was the wheelchair. How they conveniently snuck it out with the girl in the wheelchair who got left behind by her field trip chaperones, and the fact that they were just playing around with this, code breaking device in the museum, trying to plug it in.
They're just playing around with this code breaking device like in the middle of
in Fort Meade. Like, what are you doing?
I'm imagining. That museum is not like some random roadside antique
that's museum. It's like a former hotel or something, or like a rundown motel on the grounds that they converted, but it's actually on like government property. Like this shit's going to be watched pretty seriously.
I mean, I've gone to like some, a couple like random like national forest or like hiking parks that have like little tiny museums of like just describing the nature around, and my kids have gotten yelled at for like touching something wrong,
right?
They have completely. No security. Like
Yeah.
that was the first thing that set me off. Then we jump to the security guard, and he's just gonna, one, go along with it,
Yep.
and then two, not say anything afterwards. Like, just let him go.
Yeah. Between both of those, they were really bothersome. I
And the
think that,
third is
yeah.
the bees.
Oh, the bees were ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And then he all of a sudden has a fear of bees from childhood. It was just so convenient to make that up.
I mean, they had planted that like a little earlier when he said he saw a bee or something like that, but
it didn't work.
Who planted those bees? Or did no one plant the bees? Like, was it just...
No, it was the Russian guy, Tarasenko, or whoever they surmised.
He put them there.
He surmised that was a protection device for someone trying to steal the clue. Would get chased off.
One lady got killed because of it. Anaphylactic shock.
But she was also a bad guy. She was lying about being a cop and on the La Jolla team.
Yeah, but all right, you're gonna set up like a cache. No other of your caches had like we had
booby
no other
traps.
Indiana Jones like dodging spears and stuff like that. Like, we only like one of them we're gonna have like a crazy ass thing. I mean, all right, if you want to argue the bees just happen to like show up in the wall, okay, that's fucking insane. These African killer bees.
Take it back. I said I don't know how you give this book lower than a 4 out of 5 stars. If you can't overcome that, and if those three things are your mental block, give this book a 1 out of 5. Like,
no,
seriously.
But the problem is like, all right, once you get past like everything in between and like the other meat of it, it's fine. You know, like it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Because what the next one's like actually pretty good. Like that's like the most national treasure of them all, where they go to the restaurant and they concoct some story to like be allowed upstairs and they're going, and finally, what, he's at his last patience. Mingus like, pretends to go down and he gets it, and he's not able to grab the whole thing, but that's like the one that's most
believable,
like, plausible.
Yeah. Well, the other one I think is the Russian embassy.
No, the Russian embassy is also not plausible at all.
It's absurd that it's at this fountain and they're like having the guards poke with sticks to see where it is at the fountain. Like, it's ridiculous, but I was kind of edge of my seat of like, are they going to get away with this shit? And like,
at that point, I just wanted to know. I was like, as you're building, like you want to know like what is going on. But the fact that there just happens to be a Russian guy who is also maybe this is just Chris Hauty trying to say like, the craziness or the fervorness of conspiracy theorists that like exist in the world. The fact that like you can find kindred spirits in this
everywhere. Yeah.
And he's able to just, they allow him in. 2, they go along with a story to try to get the box. 3, they open the box in front of him.
They show him the box, yeah.
And 4, they let him leave. Like,
it doesn't make any sense. I like the drama aspect of it all.
Sure,
though.
It's all like, yeah.
Like, I was okay with that. And by this point, I think I've already just been along for the ride. Like, I told myself, this is National Treasure. This is Nicolas Cage on the cover, like doing that crazy shit. I was like, this is already happening. I think by that point, I was just, let me just enjoy this as we go. So yeah, if you aren't willing to give it that grace,
when you bring up National Treasure, the idea that he does steal the Declaration of Independence,
exactly,
like that's also crazy. So when you put it like that, and I was fully bought into that movie, so maybe I'm just nitpicking too much.
I think at some point you got to realize what the book is. I'll be honest. Once I heard it was a JFK thriller, I immediately went into it knowing there's going to be some crazy, wild stuff going on. So I think I was kind of prepped for that. Although what threw me off was I did not think we would cold open the book in Dealey Plaza.
Well, with the assassination,
shot, with the assassination. I did not think it was.
That was a nice touch.
I didn't think it was going to be that like historically in tune. I thought the JFK stuff might be in the background. There might be some documents, might be some characters motivated by it. But to see that we were going to have Jackie and who we thought was Jack in the car having conversations and the shot be taken, I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah, and honestly, the best part about this book is like for me was learning like all the other like stuff, whether it's real or not, conspiracy. Like
Yep.
obviously he's drawn like from a bunch of different things. Like that was the coolest part to me. Like was getting the quasi history of what people think.
Yep.
Talking about the locations and the Lee Harvey Oswald of it all, and where he was arrested, and
Yep.
his whole backstory and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, his other actions, where he went to, who he was talking to, the trips to Mexico City as well. Very interested in all of that, and that's where the fact part is. Like that, I have to believe was all based in real history, and the house,
or like
I think as
the
well.
Warren
The house with the
Commission, like
bees.
whatever you want to, like whatever we can take as fact. Sure,
Fair, whatever is, yeah, exactly. But at the same time, he didn't go into some of the more off base parts of the conspiracies.
No, he
I
definitely
feel like
didn't.
he stuck to more of the mainstream narratives. So any way you slice it, you're going to get people coming out of the woodwork yelling at you. But I feel like he didn't cater to either of the extremes in the conspiracy thing. So I feel like he still towed an okay line with what he declared as history in Juan Verdugo's eyes as he's telling it to us as the expert. He didn't have a character like Juan Verdugo all of a sudden pulling out the craziest shit of all and trying to force it as fact down people's throat, like the wild conspiracy.
Yeah.
Then again, the president's still alive, so maybe he does try to do that. But I delineate the two. I think the historical sites they go to, like the restaurant, Mexico City, the embassy, the house where he lived, all of that I think was very clearly delineated in the story as like we're trying to uncover a little bit of history and kind of teach the audience something. And then the whole part of the president being alive and there was multiple shooters and body doubles, that part I was like, okay, that's fiction. Like clearly he's crafting a story.
But even each of the clues, right, were things that existed.
The real stuff,
and,
yes.
Like the autopsy or the video in, like people say that there was a guy with a camera. So like we don't know what was on that. Like there probably doesn't show video of him getting shot in the front of the head versus the back of the head, but the fact that potentially at one point there was a camera, like that kind of stuff,
right? And an autopsy, and like nobody's seen the report, and nobody heard from that doctor who did it, and like I think they killed him. So it's like, what if we were able to read that report? What if we saw it? I think it was very clear when he was wading into that territory of what ifism, and I was okay with that. And it was also very clear when he was trying to teach you, like, no, he did. Lee Harvey Oswald did go to this place. He was or reported to be at this place. So I 100% agree. I thought that was dealt with very well.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Catholicism of it all? That was a strange angle to me.
As a Catholic, it was a little strange. I mean, I'm not like a conservative Catholic, so I don't go to the Trinity Mass and that kind of stuff. I guess you had to pick like some sort of villain, and he's trying to set up this thing like the movement, right? And so, I guess because JFK was the first Catholic president, so in order to take a stance to establish this idea of a theocratic state, right? I mean, because there are like
people were afraid of that, right?
Around exactly. Like why he got, he wanted to pull out of Vietnam. He wanted to, sort of end the Cold War, embrace socialism, or not embrace, but like, not fight to, like, I think Houghty says at the very end of this book, like the movement, they treat it as their last crusade, like this fight against socialism and like these godless people. At the same time, and maybe he's just doing it to show like the hypocrisy of people like that are in these situations. But he does say like the Cristanti, like, beds his I think, wardrobeist. Obviously, like you have the main villain who thinks he's blessed by God, but he just commits rampant murder, like everywhere, and just is judge, jury, and executioner. So, that it was a little strange, but I'm not gonna lie. But I guess you had to make a choice, right? Yeah. Who else is going to be the cabal that set up this entire thing?
You're building a cabal people had real concerns about Kennedy and his faith. I mean, there were headlines about like the Pope is going to be running the country or some shit, right? Like the Vatican
Really?
controls the American government because of Kennedy. So I could see you kind of trying to address that angle of the conspiracy theorists.
But there is huge, like the whole Tridentine, like sect, like, and
Right.
there's even people that are even further that have essentially like denounced this idea that every pope after Vatican
They're illegitimate.
II are anti-popes, right?
Yeah, they're heretics. They're illegitimate.
I think what is it, SPSXX or something like that? SSPX.
I'm sure there's groups out there. So what struck me at first, I really didn't like it, but I came to say, okay, you're basically taking an extreme, a very minuscule extreme, and you're highlighting that to make a villain and a cabal, and you're clearly showing they're misguided, but they're also true believers. They're hardliners. So it kind of works as a villain. It's just really wacky. I will say it's better than in Deep State. In Deep State, there was a weird character. I don't even remember much. One of the assassins. And every time he killed, he would like say the Lord's Prayer. And there was like no other background to it, right? It was just this guy does this for no reason. And to me, that was a big problem. I was like, it doesn't make any sense. This whole he's Catholic saying the Lord's Prayer and going off and killing. Like, I don't understand it. At least here, we got the backstory of Santos. We saw how someone could be radicalized into these really deep, dark holes. I think it speaks more to mental health issues and like how you become radicalized and what fundamentalist strains of any religion look like. Because part of me, when I was saying I was uneasy with this, and I was like, it doesn't make sense. There can be people who want to learn Latin, do the Tridentine Mass, use Latin, and have a very conservative church who are not going off and saying that gives me the right to kill people and go on missions as a holy crusader. So I was like, you're kind of grouping anybody who's more traditional and strict in their faith, and you're all of a sudden associating them with conspiracy theories who want to take over the American government and make it a theocracy. So I was like, I wasn't too comfortable with and I'm sure in some instances, the white nationalist supremacy of it all to be a theocratic state is built into, and there are some places, think of like the Richmond memo, right? Like that got out of control, that the FBI was circulating a memo that they could spy on and monitor Catholic churches and interrogate priests and ask people for rosters and things who go to the Latin masses and automatically associate that with radical white nationalists and white supremacist groups. To me, that's an utter breach of the Constitution and our rights. The people who are going to that mass should not therefore be labeled and put on a watch list and be tracked by the FBI for being associated with these groups. And I thought for a minute, I was like, is that what Chris Hauty is kind of like pushing and trying to state? But then in the end, once you get Santos's backstory and where he is in life and how Cristante is really this manipulator and he uses the faith stuff, but he's really no different than any of these other egomaniac billionaire elitists of the world. So I was like, you know what? I don't think he's painting with broad strokes to say everybody who does this is this way. He's really building specific characters who might be the ones that end up going down that path. And another part of me was like, if I'm ever going to look at, let's just say, Islamists or fundamentalists who turn towards radical terrorism, it's the same thing. It exists, right? It exists. And to say it doesn't is wrong. But then also to say everyone is that way who's associated with the faith, the two have nothing to do with each other. Yeah. So I had to become comfortable with, as a Catholic myself, as someone who does like some of the more traditional conservative parts of the faith, you should not group me into doing what Santos and Cristante are doing. Like, that's absolutely wild. But at the same time, I have to realize there are some who go down that path and some who end up doing that. And I think it speaks more to mental health issues in this country than anything.
I mean, would you argue that it's similar to someone, let's say, who is a thriller fan, but happens to be of the Muslim faith and is reading a bunch of, Brad Thor novels? Like
completely.
Would read, let's say, what's the one big one? Thomas Jefferson. But
I completely agree.
Yeah, so it's a little uncomfortable, right? Like
it was,
especially both of us are Catholics.
I put myself in those shoes, though, those exact shoes, and said, I do think any Muslim who is also either an American or Western educated or lives somewhere outside of one of those communities could be okay with these books, particularly like a Vince Flynn, who writes in a very, very delicate way, who doesn't group everyone together, who says like these strains of radicalized folks who are in bed with bad people doing bad things are not representative of everybody in that faith group. And I felt like, oh, it was interesting to have the tables turned on me and say, same thing. Catholics who were in the IRA, who used bombs, you know, in the Troubles or whatever, or who joined a white supremacy group and they try to say it's because of their faith that they're okay having those extreme beliefs. I'm like, no, you're scum. You're wrong. I do not like you. But oftentimes other people may associate that with your religion, and you have to kind of try to navigate. That's not who we are. You have to condemn it. You have to sideline it, and you just have to. That's
the problem with generalizations, right?
Yeah. That's the problem with stereotyping. Exactly. Yeah.
I think ultimately it was just picking. You had to pick this idea of, you know, typically like a cabal is like these godless, you know, a group of godless, like atheists, like loving people. Yep, but in this case, because JFK was Catholic and he was trying to twist the story in the sense that, you know, he was essentially chosen by these people who were like-minded, but he defected from them. You had to make them Catholic too. You had to make them like the ultra. And I think he wanted to show that in every case, there's people that are at these higher, you know, billionaire or whatever, the highest end, and claim to be one thing, yet they're super hypocritical.
Yep.
Whether it's, you know, evangelical Christian, you know, we've seen numerous examples of having, you know, scandals of these mega churches.
Completely.
Same thing with, you know, imams, like in you know, or, you know, an atheist at embezzling money at a company, right? Like,
at a nonprofit, at a charity.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Completely.
So yeah, it definitely hits different when as a Catholic, you know. Yeah.
It does, but it also kind of forces you to put yourself in their shoes and see how that could be a perspective. So.
I mean, this is like the story, the plot of Angels and Demons, right? Where he David Brown, not David Brown,
Dan Brown,
you know, makes Opus Dei like the
exactly.
And they happen to just be a little bit more of the conservative sect of the Catholic faith. So,
yeah, but ultimately, Opus Dei is basically a charitable organization trying to promote the social justice aims of the church, and like, I don't think it's harboring assassins who are flagellating themselves and, you know, going on these crazy missions for God, but you make a story out of it. So I had to be okay with like, that's what you chose to make your villain. And in the end, I think the best barometer of it is, does it fit the story being told? And like you said, with the Kennedy stuff and real history, Protestant America had issues with a Catholic president. Like that's real. Like this makes sense that you would highlight the extremes to tell a story of that time period. So
what did you think of the during that one meeting, they bring up JP2 and say he was chosen, but then he went astray.
He goes off reservation. Yeah. He wasn't lockstep with them. That was pretty wild. Yeah. Faction, man, is like,
yeah.
I don't think he was doing anything in an intentionally egregious, intentionally aggressive way for no other point than pissing off a slice of whatever faith. I think he was simply trying to craft a story and doing what worked for the villains in that story. What would their motivations be based on this plot? And I think it works. I think it works. My buy-in is still really low for all the other crap, but my buy-in isn't going to be dinged too much for that.
What did you think of the villain? Like, I obviously we have this villain of the movement, but no, yes. I'm talking about Santos. Like
you're talking about Santos, yeah.
That's a clear, I don't want to call it ripoff, but inspiration of. Does the guy even have a name in
Javier Bardem? Yeah, I don't
Javier Bardem's character in
Anton.
Oh yeah,
Anton. Yeah, but I just remember I was thinking the whole time, every scene, Javier Bardem with just that crazy ass look in his eyes,
haircut,
menacing, towering figure, lumbering around with his club mace thing, and the scariest, freakiest part of it was the bus.
Anton Chigurh, yeah.
When he went ham on the people on that bus accident, I was like, yo, this dude Insane. Is off the deep end. I think if I didn't have the No Country for Old Men guy in my mind, I would have had a harder time kind of like figuring out who this Santos was and what he was doing and why he was so crazy. But for some reason, having that image in my mind of like I had a clear cut how this guy would lumber around, it just helped me kind of place it. So I ended up being creeped out by him and liking him as a
Yeah.
villain.
And then, like it's similar to just walking up to an accident that you created, just walking around looking for somebody and then walking away, like, leaving the cops. Oh, there's a, never, I'll touch on that later. But, or just going in or getting pulled over by the cops and then taking her out and having this single shot.
That
I sent
weapon.
you the weapon YouTube video of it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, what was that YouTube video exactly? Because I didn't get to watch it. I know it was about the
So
weapon. It was like a real life example of it.
yes, I was just struggling to like understand like how you would fire this thing. I sent it to you. So like,
Was it
the
like
well
a
rod,
Cold
like
War era thing?
was, yeah, it was made by this British company like secretively for MI6 spies type stuff, and it's cool because the original well rods, they have like built-in silencers, so it's all like one long thing. They have like the silencers like built in. So originally the well rod, the handle itself was the magazine. So you would like lock it in, and then there was just this little tiny like bent metal trigger, and so like you could have it, and it would be
Up your sleeve and you just
up your
point.
no, but then they made a secondary one. This is called the sleeve well rod. That's literally, you have to unscrew the back, load a bullet, change this one thing, screw it back in, and then you can hold it like this. And with your top thumb, you have to take your hand off, like you have to pull and push to like get this. It has a safety, and then once you do that, you can then push down, and it causes the firing mechanism to go, and you get one shot.
Yeah, I know it was a single shooter.
It was pretty cool.
Wow.
The guy didn't shoot it, but he showed like how it would work.
He showed
it was pretty cool. Yeah, it's like there's only like a couple of these in existence.
Makes me think of that scene in The Americans. Kerry Russell, I think, has to assassinate somebody on some steps outside a building, just in the middle of the public. And she has some weapon that's just folded up inside a newspaper. So it's like you can just hold a newspaper like under your arm, and then it like kind of just shoots out of it. So I would imagine that had to be like cylindrical, tubular in there.
Yeah, that was probably like a well rod gun too. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez, man. I kind of like when the villain has this quirky, it doesn't always have to be a weapon. It is in this case, but some sort of quirky like device or technology that gives them like an edge. He also had the knife, the club. He had like a cache of weapons that he carried.
Yeah, because he killed a lot of people with the club.
Kill a lot of people. Yeah, so when we introduced with the club and then eventually his attachment to this weapon, I kind of like that you have a memorable little niche of a villain. So,
and he's a super, super weird dude. Like,
yeah,
definitely messed up in the head. Like, has this addiction to
the woman,
to this girl on a prostitution app, or not prostitution app, but like webcam app.
Yeah.
And ends up leaving her a bunch of money.
That reminded me of Catcher in the Rye when was that the book? One of those books you read in high school where he just wants to sit with the stripper or something. Like I just
don't remember that
scene.
in Catcher in the Rye. But
what am I thinking about? There was some book, but I guess that's a common trope, right? Of
sure,
loneliness and expression, and so you use prostitutes or you use other call girls or people, and you don't actually want the thing that they're providing, but you're paying them to just listen to you. So
sure,
yeah, I feel like that was a trope, but he gave her millions in the end. So it's like, this guy is really off his rocker. Like he needed community. And I think the over reliance on religion is an attempt to fill that void. And when that faith, maybe you're not exercising it properly, maybe you don't have the right people involved in your community, isn't filling that void for you, you just keep going down that spiral, and maybe you get more extreme in that thing, thinking I'm not doing it well enough, so it's not filling my lonely void, or I need to do the religion more extremely, or I need to know more prayers or more languages, read more ancient texts and memorize them. You just keep trying to fill this void of fulfillment. and he wasn't getting it from religion, so he needed the girl to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
crazy.
a couple of things that bothered me plot wise, similar to what we brought up earlier, but solely focused around the villain.
Mm-hmm.
So Crisanti has all this money, right, to hire this guy. He even has all this money to hire two people to assassinate two cops that are, after he gets caught, like to assassinate two cops to get him out of prison.
It's crazy.
Yet he can't, he's having a hard time tracking this priest. Like,
they got rid of the cell phones. Yeah, maybe it was this too much of a MacGuffin of like, if we get rid of the cell phones, we're 100% fine. We can't be tracked. But then Crisanti and the La Jolla Network has all these other methods to.
but why didn't Crisanti kill Verdugo a long ass time ago?
That's a good point.
Well before he even like thought like he would figure it out. Or as soon as he starts to become, oh, this is not going to be. You don't think this is going to be a problem? The guy's grandson is a freaking JFK nut. He's not going to try to figure out stuff about his grandfather.
Maybe it was knowing him as a boy. Maybe there was some hope that he'll be able to live without interfering. And but Crisanti never expresses that. He never like expresses he had a fondness for him or anything. So that doesn't check out.
And they have all of this, technology at their disposal. Yet they, as soon as they know him, that wouldn't they be like pulling up like facial recognition programs?
Facial recognition for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the guy who could just place a call to anybody and get shit done. Like he has his tentacles
I guess
everywhere.
that's how the two cops track them to Texas.
The house.
They don't say it, but I guess that's how it happens. But
yeah, when those two women cops show up, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. But then at that point, if you're that good, you could have been doing that to Verdugo at any other time, or you could have been monitoring him at Georgetown and like confronting him earlier to spook him off the trail.
Yeah, am I thinking too much about that? I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, maybe, but here's the thing: this is a book you can't think too hard about.
I think that's the other thing. Yeah.
You just can't think too hard about it. Like Mingus, we didn't even talk about who may be the main protagonist of the book.
I think he's more of like the main vehicle we see things through. Yeah, he does have a little bit of a redemption arc, but to me, in this case, it's the main protagonist of the book is Verdugo, and like this unraveling of the story.
Yeah, that's why, again, if you think too hard about it, it kind of falls apart of why Mingus is even involved in the first place. It was like very much a reach that he just happened to be dating that woman, and she needs him to protect Verdugo.
She knew who would be able to protect Verdugo.
He has skills. So I liked his backstory, like the explanation growing up, in Calvert County, Maryland, being kind of like the lower class out there, always involved problems with the law, and then gets kicked out. Oh, and then bringing in, talk about faction, the Rio scandal with the Secret Service agents,
right?
Ripped from the headlines, like that was all it. And now we get a character who was the guy, who was the guy who was messing with the
I like that whole Secret Service Brotherhood thing where like he stood up for his brother, and then at the very end, even though this guy, because I thought in the very beginning when we saw that one Secret Service agent come into the strip club, I thought he was going to somehow be a villain.
Yeah.
And then when he shows up later, like I'm like, oh, I mean, ultimately, I guess he puts Crisanti in, but he thinks it's all on the up and up.
Exactly.
And then he flat out's like, all right, no, bro code or Secret Service code.
Buddy.
I'm not helping you out. It
was a nice touch. But the whole Mingus thing, if you think too hard about it, is really just there's no reason for him to be involved in this. It just is like happenstance that he gets pulled. I don't know. I liked him so much that I don't want to criticize it. I criticize his role.
It's like National Treasure when the lady who's at the archive gets pulled into it, right?
Exactly.
And then she's along for the ride.
Because you just need her. Yeah. You need somebody to fit the bill. Yeah. You can't think about it too hard. I think that's my main message from this book. Here's the thing. I really enjoyed it. I have so many critiques.
I know, that's the thing.
And like, you're pulling me down. But like,
no, it's not pulling you down.
It was fun.
We're just talking about it. We're just talking about it.
It was fun reading it, though.
It was very
a whole
fun
lot of fun. It was an enjoyable book. It's just, it has its plot holes. We picked them apart, and most people aren't going to go this far into it, and they rightfully should just enjoy this book, and that's it. Move on.
There was one other thing I wanted to bring up that was wild. You can keep talking. Well, let me think about it. I just had it. Anyways, it'll come back to me. But
let me know.
Yeah,
well,
no,
I've got one that might come up in my winner, so I'm trying to avoid it until.
Okay. Yeah, let's get into the scorecard.
Yeah, let's do it. We said what needs to be said, so I think this is just a chance to put like our stamp on it of like where we finally come down. And I do have to give credit to Action Suspense. To me,
I remember what it was. Yeah.
That's man, we're gonna have to fight over the.
It goes in plot, then. So we'll talk about it in plot. So.
Okay, maybe I have a different one then. Action Suspense. I'm going 9 out of 10. Call me crazy. I think if you just are along for the ride, the action and suspense is edge of your seat stuff most of the way through. So I need to make up a little bit of ground, and I think rightfully so. Action Suspense is where I do that. 9 out of 10.
9. Yeah, no, I agree. I think like if I want to give the points, because I like this book, a decent amount, like I'll give it there for sure.
Plot.
So the other like thing that's kind of crazy is, remember they show back up to the hotel and their rooms are ransacked.
Right.
And Mingus just walks in and takes
out.
his stuff. Yeah. And then he walks out, and then like I think even one of the cops says, "Where the hell are you going?"
Yeah.
Like what?
And he just leaves.
Like, wouldn't the cops like want to stop them, question them, and then wouldn't there be an APB out because apparently Verdugo is dead, right?
It doesn't. That did not make any sense.
Yeah. Anyways,
that was another one of those major plot holes.
That is a perfect example of why I'm going to ding plot here, and I'll take a little bit from plot, little bit from buy-in, because there are just a number of things that were just wild.
Yes.
So I think I'm going to go like 6 harsh.
Yeah. No, I think rightfully, with all the plot holes that we pulled out, if you think too hard about it, you are well within your rights to go, honestly, even 3-4 with plot.
I think I'm being generous with the 6.
But here's why I'm going to see you on the 6, and I'm going to join you in that generosity. You have to account for the clues.
Yeah, no, that's what's saving it, right? Like the
context.
faction.
The context of finding the clues were utterly ridiculous, but getting the faction along the way to learn the facts of the real places where this story played out was pretty cool. And I have to say, at least 2 bonus points for the twists. I think literally the reveal at the end automatically bumps up the plot, just because,
even though it's also wild.
It's so wild. It's so bizarre, but it's also so awesome. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So I think if somebody were to tell me 3 out of 10 on plot, I'd say, gotcha. It's ridiculous. If someone were to say maybe 7 on plot, I'd say, okay, I see you, because there's some stuff there. But buy-in, though, I am not. The only thing saving me a point, I'm going 1 as well. The only thing saving me a point is I'm bought in terms of the enjoyability.
Sure.
That's the 1 point. The 1 point is the enjoyability. Yeah. It's kind of a page turner. So
yeah. No, it is. Like I was wrapped in it. So last night, like Caroline was reading, and I didn't have a physical. I don't think did we get sent a copy of this?
Good question. I think I got a paper copy early on. I may have given it to somebody because I knew I was going to wait for the audiobook.
Anyway, so I'm just sitting there like coffin style, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just listening to my audiobook."
Yeah. I would have no problem with this being a summer release and it being a summer, like,
this came out
book.
December?
Yeah, it was December.
Interesting time for this book. Yeah.
It is. I don't know if it has those vibes, but yeah, that's a 4-point ding on buy-in, just because the utter ridiculousness of it and the plot holes. But a 1 on buy-in, that point is for it's a heck of a page turner. Bad guys. We kind of had to talk about this already.
Yeah. I like Santos.
Sure.
Like, I think he's an interesting character. And Cristante,
Okay.
okay, we didn't have like, I mean, I guess he's involved in like the twists and the plots like the whole way,
He's the man in the chair.
but not a great man in the chair. Like not
No.
like a memorable man in the chair. I'll remember Santos before I remember Cristante for sure.
Cristante's exit also of
That was
Santos just leaning
super
in and
weird.
like killing him right there. I was like, I wanted to see him at least have his moment, like have his moment of doing something uber cruel and like really getting involved, getting his hands wet, but he didn't even have the opportunity. He just
I guess
got
because
offed.
Chris wrote him to be like this, essentially like Stephen Miller type, but who talks really soft and like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
He was
you can't
Stephen
really-
Miller meets Mr. Burns.
Yeah, exactly. But
Or did Stephen Miller already meet Mr. Burns?
I don't know. But yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna go like a 2.5,
two,
3.
2 or 3. I'm gonna go 3 because the backstory of Santos and the Cuba stuff and his radicalization. Oh, that's another thing. There are a very, very aggressive sect of Cubans who are so virulently anti-communist because of what happened to their families that I could see them going down a path.
Well, I mean
of
that's why
extremism.
like Florida is no
Right.
longer a purple state.
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah.
So the Cuban connection made sense to me. Good guys.
Good guys.
Mingus and Verdugo. I don't want to bang them because we already did on buy-in with why they're involved. And
But I think if you take them
as
individually,
characters, correct.
yeah.
It's a 4 out of 5 for me if you just take them on individual characters.
I agree. I think like I was, even though when you put aside the ridiculousness of like this pairing of a Jesuit priest and a disgraced Secret Service agent, I think each of the characters were well developed.
Yep.
Individually. Yeah, so 4 for me.
Yeah. And even the arc they go on, like it was really, really nice. Mingus, and you're always going to be a Mingus. You're down on yourself. He wants to get back in the game, wants to do the right thing, wants to prove himself, and he takes the bullet for the president. There's nothing more Secret Service than taking the bullet for the president, and he gets to do that in a very, very bizarre way. So, setting, that's something we didn't talk about too much. Dealey Plaza, we open right there, then we go to all the different spots in Oswald's life. Like that was pretty neat.
I felt like we went a lot of places.
We did.
And I did feel like Houghty did a good job of describing, each of the individual locations. I felt like, the different spots in Dallas, going to New Orleans, the vibrancy of Mexico City. Then we move over to the, sort of shadier part of Mexico City. Perfectly described Baltimore. I wanted more DC, but we didn't really say in DC that, we were there for like a hot second. So it's not like the best I think we've seen from either him or definitely from other authors, but it was still quite good. So I think I'll go like 3.5, 4.
Yeah, I'm with you. I could round up to 4. I was a little closer to a 3.5.
It's not a 3.
It's not a 3. That's
I think
too
it's better
low.
than a 3, but it's not quite a 4. So 3.5.
Yeah, put me down for 3.5 as well. The other thing is it could have been a little higher, except it was almost too much of a good thing. Like, and again, like we said, best of Brad Thor, worst of Brad Thor. He's a globetrotter in his books for sure, but he started out going a little over the edge. Some of the early Brad Thor books where we're globetrotting for no apparent reason, then to just see cool hotels and exotic cities on 5 continents in one book. It just felt like too much. It kind of felt like that here, a little jam packed. Like New Orleans and the Zydeco was kind of cool. Oh, he finds Verdugo in the music hall with the band playing
drunk.
the washboard. He's
they
wasted.
Stop at that they stop in Bristol, Tennessee and get dinner and like describing that rural life.
The barbecue. Yep. Oh, round me up to a 4. Some of those little snippets were cool. It's just too much of a good thing. So
it's a lot. Yeah.
It's too much of a good thing, but it was done very well. I think it was done so well that I want to round up to a 4.
Okay.
Cover. What's your take?
Cover's intriguing. It's pretty cool.
It kind of is.
And when you think about this idea of like a doppelganger, getting double vision,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how to describe this, but like when you start a movie and like if something glitches,
Exactly.
you're starting like a thriller or some sort of spy, like it glitches, like that's what it's invoking to me.
100%.
So I really like that. Don't love like the font style for Chris Hauty and Dead Ringer. It's not super original, but the choice to put JFK's face and to have this is a nice touch. So definitely you walk by, you're like, I'm gonna pick that up and read the back.
Yeah, 100% agree. The double vision, the film movie glitch makes sense to me. Actually choosing JFK, right? Because it's a JFK thriller. Like, you have to. All that hits for me. The one thing is the color choice. A little too rainbowy, vibrant, and I get that idea of like falsehoods, fake. It's kind of throwing you off your game. I just almost think
so. Those are the three colors that are in like photographs, and so like this thing has a lot to do with like
old
films, finding, because you have to have those three come together to make so.
I get all that. That makes sense to me, but I just don't think these colors evoke the tone of the story. The tone of the story to me was not upbeat, holly jolly. So yes, the film makes sense. The historical aspect of it, the double feature of the face, or the double fake of the face, makes sense to me. Just the colors don't fit the tone of the story. So that's probably like a point ding. 3.5. I rounded up before, so I'll go 3.5 here.
3.5.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you there. All right. Who is your free space, Mike?
Dude, there's only one.
African killer beast?
Possibility. Cal Ripken Jr. Baby.
You asshole.
I took it.
You asshole. Oh,
you were hoping
my
I didn't remember it.
I was hoping you didn't remember that at all, but then I scrolled down and I saw what you said my ending's supposed to be. That was like the cutest, I don't know, just quirkiest, thing to put in there. And this like little passion that he has that he, gets him through his sobriety.
Why the hell not? Put it in there.
And like, that's the one thing that he like cares about the most. He doesn't have anybody in his life, but no, that's a great one. That is a great one. Ooh, how am I going to top that?
Yeah, I didn't want to steal that from you, but I was so excited. So I'm okay with a shared free space if you want. Oh, we couldn't. No. I want to say the security guard at Arlington, because how he comes back in the end is nice.
I liked how he came back in the end. He was getting like a degree. And
agreed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's a bozo. Like, he let them in. Like, he didn't arrest them on the spot. Like, what an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, the woman at the end taking care of the president in that house. Was she a nun or not? Was she like a sister? I wasn't sure. A religious?
She wasn't.
Or was she just an old lady? Yeah, she was a nun.
Yeah.
She's a possibility.
Just give it to JFK.
Sure. Give it to the audiobook narrator for.
Yeah, I wanted to ask. Oh yeah, as soon as that guy kind of gave it away a little bit.
Yeah.
But
he transitioned.
He slowly brought it out.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That was well done. Well played.
Well, I was going to say, what did you think of him overall?
I thought it was okay. I
Mark
think
Sanderson, I think his name is.
That moment shined the most. I guess he differentiated characters, like some of the women cops, and then the random lady at the motel who Verdugo was trying to help, the homeless lady with her child.
Yeah, who screws him over by posting on social media.
Yeah, exactly. Again, that's probably another one of those plot holes which is just so forced. It's so derivative. It's like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I thought he was good. I think in the end, he really pulled it together. Obviously, the best voices you have to do are Mingus and Verdugo, and that was perfect. Chris Hauty is a tee-up. You just lower your voice and make it sound all smarmy. So Santos, you just have, like, again, that Javier Bardem kind of scary, very bass-like vocal presence. So I feel like he nailed the big ones he had to nail.
Yeah. Not annoying, but not like my favorite.
Not elite.
You know?
Not elite.
Yeah, not
Singing in Spanish was a lot of fun as well.
Yeah. That was funny.
That was a funny little metaphor. When I heard that song, like 5 times he made him sing it like a bunch of times, I was like, there's some metaphor or analogy going on here about something. And
yeah,
it made sense.
Yeah. All right. That leaves us with a 34.5 for me and a 35.5 for you.
I think about where I put it, mid to high 30s.
Yeah. Like we wouldn't talk about a book if it scored in the 20s, you know?
I think this one also is unique in that it's so different. It's so out there in a sense. If you're willing to take it for what it is and recognize this is going to be like a mid-level 30s book, but still just go and enjoy it, I absolutely would recommend it. It's not like I would not. If you tell me you're a fan of Brad Thor, Steve Berry, Dan Brown, National Treasure, Indiana Jones, I'd be like, oh, are you also interested in JFK Assassination conspiracies? I got the book for you.
Was I disappointed that I spent 9 hours listening to this book? No,
Not at all.
Not at all.
It was
Would
a
I
trip.
read it again? I don't know.
No, not at all.
So I'm ready for the next Haley Chill book. I need that to come in my life.
Which we also got a reveal of. Did you catch when he's at Fort Meade going to the National Cryptologic Museum, the guard who they pass on the way in, she's reading the next Haley Chill thriller, Bang and Burn. He puts the name of one of his own books that isn't published yet in this book. Bang and Burn, the next Haley Chill thriller.
I totally missed that.
Dude, the guard is reading a book. By the way, I wanted to see, highly advise against this. I wanted to see if that was actually announced as a Haley Chill book. So I Googled Bang and Burn. Please don't do so. Podcast listeners, not safe for work.
You have to type in like Haley Chill. Like
I didn't think about that. Bang and Burn. I should have done Chris Hauty novel. Yeah.
Don't do it on your work computer.
Yeah, there are a few films that have adopted that name. Just put it that way. But no announcement or anything, but pretty meta for him to put one of his own books inside of his own books.
That's going to be amazing if that's the title of his book. All right. So what are we covering next time, Mike?
Oh, that's a good question. I think actually right about now we're going to sit down and work on the 2026 reading list. So check our socials, visit thrillerpod.com, and you will find our 2026 reading list posted sometime in the next few weeks. So you know exactly what's coming at you month by month for the rest of the year. So still working on it. We will let you know. However, Cold Zero is being released by Brad Thor and Ward Larson over the next few weeks. So I think that's a February release. So that's February, definitely something coming at you real soon.
Yep. All right. Well, we can't leave without thanking our patrons. Our deputy directors, Sherry F. and Brad E., our special agents, Adam, Mike, Ben, Daryl, George, Matt, Dawn, and Chris. Like Mike said, you can find us at thrillerpod.com. Please subscribe to all 3 seasons or look us up on Twitter and Instagram at Thriller Podcast. And as always, just like Cal, be Cal. And we're back. Do you have a limerick for us this week?
Can't believe I missed this. I just want to assure the people this was written pre-pod. I put some time into it. It was non-AI generated pre-pod. Forgot to read it out on the pod, so you're getting this as a little post-credit here. There once was a brother named Juan, with Joe Mingus who brought all the brawn. Many clues they will trace, as conspiracies they chase, a conclusion that no one has drawn.
Much better this week. Much better. Not trying to rhyme words that don't rhyme with each other. Yes, I like it. I don't
think anybody in the JFK conspiracy verse has come up with the conclusion that he is still alive. Conspiracy.
No,
not.
actually, when I was Googling it, there is a conspiracy out there that JFK is still alive.
Is it because of a body double, or is it that the footage we're seeing is not real?
Yeah, I
Like the
didn't. I
Zapruder.
didn't go down the rabbit hole. So
Yeah, I guess when it comes to conspiracy theories, you're going to get everything.
everything.
He was abducted by aliens.
Yeah, and then
He's
dropped
living
off.
under the Denver airport. Yeah.
Yeah. What is supposed to be on the Denver airport? Something.
I have no idea. There's a whole bunch of crazy shit.
Area 51. I don't know. All right. Well, good job on your limerick, bro.
Appreciate that.
We'll make sure to read it on the pre-credit next time.
Yeah, let me go feed my sourdough starter.